All right, my dude. So we may get photobombed by your puppy. We shall see. I also have my small child in the back, so maybe he will make a appearance. But here we are.
Be for a good show.
Yeah, it would, right?
More retention if they come in through the screen.
A dog and a kid.
Yeah, we should put them in the thumbnails, honestly.
So yeah, we got Yvonne Fry on this episode. We'll be hearing from her here in a minute. We're doing a slightly different intro, as you know, because gotta love technology. We had a little bit of a tech blunder and lost.
It's a good word, yeah.
Yeah,
lost a little bit of audio.
Lost a little bit of audio at the tail end of our conversation with her. Thankfully, it wasn't too much. But with that said, we're going to just openly state that the end of the full interview just kind of stops. And you'll hear from us to wrap things up at the end. But Yvonne, she is from Plant City. So she is born and raised in the Central Florida, Tampa Bay, or greater Tampa Bay region. Even though Plant City is on the outskirts of the outskirts, she still knows the area.
I think she would claim Tampa Bay if you asked her.
Honestly, I think in the interview, she even mentions Tampa Bay a few times. So, but honestly, what was crazy was when we obviously got her to, say yes to be on the show with us and talk to us.
Yeah.
You kind of click through, start researching and understanding, our esteemed guest. She was she grew up on a chicken farm.
Yeah. So in the podcast, she does say that, and I kept thinking like, okay, it's kind of weird, but sure. And then when you go back and you look at all that information about her, it was a chicken farm with 60,000 chickens.
Yes.
So it's not like. My brain goes to like backyard chicken farming. I don't know, like 10 chickens.
Our editor has like a dozen chickens. You know that about
He
Ken?
needs to step his game up and get a few dozen thousand.
Yeah. Ken's
crazy.
got like a dozen chickens on his property, which is hysterical. But yeah, so she grew up on a farm. She worked with her hands. She was very immersed in her family's farm and just from a very, very young age. She'll openly say it, but also you just realize like she's always worked.
Yeah.
And she's put in the work.
Yeah.
So for her to essentially create this workforce development program is kind of funny. I mean, like just kind of call it what it is, like super hardworking woman coming up on a farm, and then which we'll dive, you'll hear from her on like how she got to her path, but she took a little bit of this like loop to all of a sudden create this program. Mm-hmm. And it's very in line with who she is and her personality, but she took a roundabout way to get there.
Yeah. I mean, even if you look into her bio, like her first job was selling extra beets that were harvested on the farm. I mean, you're right. It's kind of like all of her cards aligned into doing what she's doing now. And we ask her, and, she's just kind of, I've noticed this is a trend that a lot of people don't really know how they got to where they are. They're just there. Yeah. And, but if you look at the details, you see like, we can see, I see exactly how you got here. Yeah. And it's super cool. So yeah, she created Workforce Development Partners. It's a nonprofit, and it works for building a future career community, academies, building students into, what did she call the 3 E's? Enrollment, enlistment, no.
Yeah, enrollment, enlistment, employment.
Employment, yeah. So taking this 9th through 12th grade is like her core demo, and just teaching them how to be confident and build skills into going into a career path, which I don't know where you were at in 9th through 12th, but I didn't know what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to do something creative, but back then I didn't think that could even be a career.
Yeah, right. Maybe my senior year in high school, I started to very lightly see media and production as a viable option, but like lightly. And honestly, like she talks about doing everything well, the 3 E's, teamwork, and just how she handles adversity and kind of just pushes through, but she has her perspective on it. It's just really interesting. So, I mean, with all that said, we got a solid solid bit from her. So let's hear from her, and then at the tail end, when it cuts, we'll come back and we'll kind of keep the conversation going.
Let's do it. Yvonne, thank you for coming in. Really
Thank
appreciate
you.
you
I'm
for being
excited
here.
to join y'all.
Thank you. We've got Kevin, the
Hi,
mastermind behind it all.
Yeah.
I'm trying to come up with new ways to introduce him.
Yeah, he throws a curveball every time. I'm like, all right, let's see what I am
Okay.
today.
We could have a contest of, like the different types of titles for him.
Oh.
Of
That's
Oh.
a good idea.
grand guru of the universe. We could have some fun with that.
Guru is a tough word. I don't know. I feel like guru is a little
Poobah.
insulting
Oh, okay.
after like some movies I've seen before. But
okay.
let's jump right into it for you, Yvonne. Can you tell us a little bit about your background and how you came into this world of workforce development?
Well, I scratch my head on that every day.
Oh, really?
And I will tell you that I do look in the mirror and say, who am I to be doing this? So, but the narrative of what has brought me to this moment, I do recognize, and I have a philosophy in life that each of us are uniquely prepared and provisioned for each day. And that those days kind of knit together into bigger things that create those opportunities for us. And there has been a really interesting journey for me to come to this. I'm a farmer's daughter.
Oh.
And so recognizing the trades and, the simplicity of life and kind of how, what's available to people. We're entrepreneurs and creating opportunity and things like that. If I fast forward into kind of the real life things that prepared me here, other than my youth, is I have a marketing and communications production company. I was talking to business owners over and over and over about how they're throttled for growth, not because of they need new contracts, but because of workforce. Mm-hmm. And when they say, get me people, don't bring me any new business until I can meet the people equation of this. Mm-hmm. The other side of things is, as a mom, I have always been very involved in our schools. And I'm a good listener and, assess things and see opportunity. And that was the gap that I really saw is we're preparing kids in a lot of ways. But, in that preparation for life, do they really know about industry? And do they know how career paths work and how to really access those? And all of that kind of was the conflagration that brought it all together. And it wasn't that I set out to do this either. I want to be clear about that because I think that's a message for people to understand. There's so many things in life that can be of significant impact and in spite of ourselves. It's not because we said we're going to do a grand thing. It's because we just found faithful every day. Mm-hmm. And so that's a piece of this is that we, in Plant City, we were setting up our own economic development corporation and realizing what a core tenet in that was of public education. And we as a community said we want to show up in a bigger way for our schools. We leaned into the public high school there, Plant City High, and set up a business advisory board just meant to bring people in close. And the natural conversations that happened from that was about identifying those opportunities and the gaps and so on. We had a job fair. More and more just continued to happen. We set up a nonprofit. Here we are now as the workforce development partner for the 7th largest school district in the country, Hillsborough County Schools. So
Wow.
all of that, to say, I look in the mirror and say, who am I to be doing this? But yeah.
It's powerful.
It's interesting because I think we've all been to not so successful job fairs. Whoa. You had a successful one and it just catapulted into a second and a third and a fourth. What's the reason for all the success in all those job fairs?
One, there's real need.
Okay.
And so you do that, but then I have a saying in life. I have a few you're going to hear today.
Love it.
I can only control 100% of what I can control.
Yep.
And so I build process. And when you look at in our equation, how does everybody win? And if you provide value to everybody that's involved, success follows for everybody.
Yep.
And it's not about what your success is. It's about that shared success, that shared vision, and starts with a real need. When you're providing a solution for folks and then you do it well, that is the solution and how it becomes successful. And all of that is through teamwork, 100%.
Yeah, think we align in a lot of the ways we think, because like we do a lot of interviews for not only our podcast, but obviously the production company side of things, and I've started to do this thing where towards the end of interviews, I'll ask whomever we're interviewing, like, can you give me a tangible example of XYZ, whatever we're talking about, right? And it's interesting because a lot of times we'll get this like deep pause, allow them to think through it, and then they'll say, oh, when we did XYZ, ABC happened.
Right.
And it's like, there we go. Like, you have to have, you can just saying you want to do something is one thing, but being able to go, oh, when we brought these 3 employers that specifically were looking to fill 5 jobs, and we
Right.
put 10 kids in front of them that all needed jobs, and we helped them get said jobs. Like, there's a tangible reaction when you look past yourself and,
Right.
and try to help someone else.
Absolutely. And isn't that what life's about? Yeah. I mean, and I think, and we can all share in this, I'm sure, how many people have poured into us from a very early age and then into our professional careers and given us a chance, seen our values, seen the potential, and just been so generous of spirit. And that's, what I hope to embody every day, is to give back towards that, and honor those that have done that for me.
I
That's
can
yeah.
I can very specifically tell you, like, we're not going to go into it, but I can tell you exactly who
Yeah.
and why we bring interns into TSM.
Yeah.
Like, because it was given to me, and some,
Right. And that you
My-
treat them
yeah.
with respect and really pouring into them. They're not just cheap labor.
Yep.
They are truly the future of your industry, and on and on. I
Yep.
mean, you
Mi-
just
Mi-
value them.
yep.
Yeah. Value people.
Mike
Yeah.
Dunn at Florida State University. I can tell you exactly who it was that ingrained that in me, because he went out of his way to help me on multiple occasions.
That's awesome.
So
Yeah.
What you have? We've jumped really into this, but
I'm looking at my notes. Like,
you
how do
have
I get back.
I am notorious for just taking us past two points that
I know.
Dylan made.
We're just having a conversation,
Exactly.
right? Come on, y'all.
You have a nonprofit
Yes.
side and a. Let's just start with that. Let's start with the nonprofit component. Can you talk through the nonprofit side of what you operate?
Absolutely. Workforce Development Partners is the name of the nonprofit, Florida-based organization. And, the name of that is to really signify what we just talked about, workforce development, but through partnerships in everything. And we started with our signature program that everybody knows us for, which is Future Career Academy. And whenever it was time, because that was just such an organic grassroots walkout, like I said, from the business community, it was just that we were doing job fairs, and then we were adding on to that with other experiences and so on. And but I realized that wasn't the end of the story, and so that wasn't what the organization should be called. That's a program, and that there's so many other ways that we can do workforce development, which is economic development, which is, for anybody that doesn't know what those things mean, it just means building strong communities, starting with individuals, families, businesses, and the give back, what you just described. So that was what we started with, and we have another program called Best Florida Jobs, which is our work with adults, job fairs, resources, and so on as well. We've got some other things in our hip pocket that is we're hoping to roll out more formally in the future, as well as in addition to serving Hillsborough County, all 32 high school career and exceptional centers now, we're looking at being able to go more fully into conversation with other counties. We've had industry, elected officials, a lot of folks that have asked us, when are we going to expand? And and we're excited for that, but I only want to do that with fidelity. To grow for the sake of growth is not, it has to make sure that every kid that we have the potential to serve, that we do it in the right way and fully, and that's a big lift. So we're excited about that, but we go deep. We're now 9th through 12th grade with curriculum, with a heavy emphasis on those seniors as they're about to enter the workforce, but being able to go wide into other geographic areas is exciting as well.
what's the biggest, I don't know if this is where you're going, but what's the biggest challenge that you've had to overcome with workforce development partners?
So if y'all have ever done the StrengthsFinder test, the premise is that
I've been asking people to do personality tests. So
you
if
need to
you've
put
got
that on
some-
your list.
Okay.
StrengthsFinder.
StrengthsFinder.
I think it's the Clifton StrengthsFinder. And the premise is there's 40 some different strengths that we all have. It's just what is your top 5 really is what drives how you operate.
Got it.
And my number 1 is strategy. My number 2 is futurist. So you put those two together and I can build a strategy, the process behind, and see the fullness of something out ahead of us. I see how it all fits together. I see the outcomes. I see who's involved. I see how, like, the value we provide to folks. And many times I feel like I'm selling air. And because I can see it so
Like,
clearly.
you need this.
And
You have to have
what it
it.
is and how it is when it doesn't even exist.
That's crazy. Yeah.
And there are people that's, we need those. So we
Yep.
need those that are very present and that are dealing in the concrete, but I sell air. And that was from the beginning of understanding the full potential of this. So this wasn't about me. This was truly about, like we said, that equation where everybody can win and all the value propositions that there are in this. And, there's the baseline of students, families, employers, training partners, all of that. At this point, we were talking before we got on the air about the hierarchy of needs. We're now able to go to a higher level. And this summer, we've always had community partners like in the social service sector. We're able to take those conversations much, much deeper now because when you figure out the synergies, and I'll give an example, Feeding Tampa Bay. Feeding Tampa Bay, we all know and love.
Yeah.
They are meeting the need on the back end of folks that are hungry. Well, on the front end of that, they totally embrace, how do we do jobs training? How do we do placement? How do we stabilize them in their home security? All of those other aspects. And thinking about how we together can message and create shifts and impacts and so on. So to me, it's really been about me being very impatient, that I want what I see, the fullness of all that, to be fully actualized. But it takes time to build that understanding and buy-in and all the supports, because I can't do it by myself. So we've got to take the time and spend with folks and bring them on board so that they are fully part of things and so on. So me being patient has probably been the hardest part of it, but it's also still been a lot of fun. And walking in faith. I mean, this takes money, this takes a lot of things, and walking in faith and continuing to build my faith has been a big part of this. I feel called to this, and that I again, uniquely prepared and provision. I got to do it. So
Yeah.
you got to do it. And some days are scarier than others.
Yeah. We
Y'all
had
can relate.
we had
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
a guy named Tom Goodlet on. He's a leadership coach and a pastor, and he was like, just trust that it's all going to work out, basically. I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, yeah,
Yeah.
I could do that for sure. We could
Yeah.
definitely do that.
Yeah.
So we're in Tampa Bay. What's your assessment of Tampa Bay's workforce? The strengths, the weaknesses. How do you think we could do better as an area?
That's a great
It's
question.
a big question.
I'm such a fan and a cheerleader for this environment that we're in. We live not only in paradise, let's just get that out of the way, but the real magic here is not our backdrop. It's amazing. The real magic here is our people, our leadership, our shared vision. The fact that this is, I came from Plant City today to come over here, your side of the bay, to record. But we're still part of what feels like a small town community. This region is a small town community. And the way that you can come here, we've got so many people moving in from out of area, and you can come here and be so successful in a company, starting a company, in leadership, anything. This is the ultimate land of opportunity. And that's one of the key messages that we share with our students. And I get emotional about this because our kids and the ones that are in high school, what they've lived through with COVID and all the subsequent bad news,
Yeah.
we come in and tell them the truth, which is it's good. And the American dream is alive and well. And what you can do with some hustle, some ingenuity, being indispensable, living it with integrity, all the things that are the hallmarks of success. we share that with them, and then, paint those concrete places and ways of what they can access. And the other piece of that is that they can know that how they're uniquely made, like what makes them tick, there's something for them. Many students have not thrived in four walls because they need to be on a construction site.
Yeah.
So the market here is booming in many sectors. We have competitive wages that are continuing to adjust. We have employers who are investing in and building their workforce in a way that I am so excited about, because if we've got 12,000 kids that I call my own and that are, that I
That's
feel
a lot of kids to have.
That's a lot of kids, but I feel like, my own biological two, I feel like, how would I want everybody else to be treated? And what kind of opportunities? And what I see at this point of how our employers are investing in and value their team and really are creating a culture that I would feel comfortable with any of my kids being able to work in. Those are the types of employers that we really want to partner with and that we're so excited for, and that I think are raising the bar for others. We do a workforce summit in December, and that was part of the conversation this past year, is what are some of those best practices to challenge others in the marketplace to say, this is what you should be doing, and don't settle for less as an employer, so that we can tell our kids don't settle for less.
Yeah, so that's perfectly in line with my follow-up question, and it's what are the trends that you're seeing in the marketplace that are affecting the employers and the job seekers?
We've got some challenges. Transportation is one. We don't have a robust public transportation system here, and I don't know the answer to that. That's expensive,
It's been a part of the conversation for years.
It's challenging.
And years.
Yeah,
So-
I was gonna say, since I've lived in this region
Yeah.
for 12 years now, and since I moved here, it's always been a part of the conversation.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's gonna get rectified,
Well,
to be honest with you.
So we work in terms of, what is the landscape, just recognizing what are maybe potential barriers, and you work within that. And so, like, for instance, within Hillsborough County, those 32 high schools, we divide those up into 8 communities, so that first and foremost, we have local accessible jobs and employers that are right there, and that may be 9 times out of 10, kids had no idea that those employers were even right down the street from them. So opening up things that are close in and that they can get to, and so on. And always us thinking in those terms, not just what is a barrier, but, well, then what do we do? How do we navigate that towards success? And so on. So that's one example. I think that in this market there is the growth, the construction industry, and keeping up with rooftops and the associated industry that needs to happen here. This and the best practices around safety and so on. It's really exciting to see what's happening in that industry. And we break out construction and the trades, because construction is all the new stuff that the trades sit up underneath. But the trades also, have you had to have your air conditioner fixed this summer?
Not yet. Knock on wood.
Thank goodness. But
Yeah,
you know,
it's the worst.
yeah, how much, and to think about what are the opportunities for people to go into those things and make such great wages, and or to be entrepreneurial and create new opportunities for others. Those are things that we find really exciting, and part of the narrative here around innovation, around how can we continue to spark that spirit here, where we're creating new things all the time, and we're being known and seen across the country now, in fintech and other things, that we're breaking out. And I would say even with production, people are starting to pay attention that this is, we still have some big barriers, but companies like y'all that are, doing great work and providing the needs here. I just think that there's so many diverse types of industries, and that's part of the strength as well,
Yeah.
is what all you can do here. We're not just pigeonholed.
That's-
We're not a coal town.
Yeah. That is so incredibly true. There's a lot of opportunity here.
Yeah.
I really like how you're framing it up for the kids, that, like, yeah, you can be an entrepreneur if you want, but you can also just be an entrepreneur for yourself and find a construction job, an office job, a production job. You don't you don't have to go to college. You can go straight to the, you can be employed. You had mentioned 3 E's earlier to us, which go ahead and let us know what the 3 E's are.
Yeah, when kids are about to graduate, there's really, you want them to have a pathway. You want them to have their future plotted out. And there's 3 E's. There's employment, enrollment in a college, training, apprenticeship program, so on. And then there's enlistment in the military. And what we are focused on is how do you really serve all those up equally as signifying the success that they can be, and that they're also can be all intertwined. And I'll give a couple of examples. There's many of our employers that offer an in-house apprenticeship program. And so if you come in, you're automatically doing 2 of those. You're enrolled in an apprenticeship program, a certified, registered apprenticeship program, as well as you're earning money and you're, building tenure and your experience on the job as well. We also have reframed the military in our minds a little bit, because the military was almost like this, kind of out here compared to careers and training. And I look at the options. Not only is it a great career path if you want to go in and serve our country, we're so thankful for those that do, and so on. But there's also those shorter term opportunities. If you go serve 4 years in the military and come out and have learned logistics or like so many other things, I mean, it is very, very broad. All the different things that you can be a musician, you can on and on. You come back and you are so well positioned. Now there's a transition period, and we've got to, we as a community need to make sure that those things are strong. But the life skills and the other things that is taught in that environment for the military, I think is such a strong alternative option. And I've almost reframed it like it's an apprenticeship. You're earning while you learn and serving our country. Yeah. So, we're trying to really stir some preconceived notions and how you look at opportunities to get you to your greatest pathway on success and earnings potential and fulfillment and opportunity and so on. So trying to mix it up a little bit.
And we are back. So, as we mentioned at the beginning, a little bit of an audio issue at the tail end there. But Yvonne was such a genuine, nice person just to talk with. I mean, we talked obviously before the podcast started recording and afterwards, and just the remarkable high level of authenticity that she just
exuded.
Yeah, honestly, exuded into the room was really nice. And just another great podcast guest for us. We continue to strike gold with all these people that are very busy, but they are gracious enough to come in and have a conversation with us, and it's just really nice getting all these different perspectives. And Yvonne was no different.
She definitely struck me as someone I would want to sit down and play chess with and figure out how much of you're able to think and work and do all these things at the same time, because she spoke in a way that she sees things in advance. There's a thing in chess where you're supposed to be able to see your moves. That's the best part about it, is you can see things happening on the board. I don't know if you ever saw the Queen's Gambit. It kind of details that. Yep. And I'm listening to her talk. I'm like, she can see everything ahead of time. She even said she sells air, Yeah. And I was like, what? How? This is crazy.
Yeah, that concept was really intriguing, and it came up a few times in the podcast. Came up one more time towards the end when we lost audio. But she is such a captivating speaker, or captivating thinker, I guess is the better way to put it.
Definitely.
Because she speaks so well through her ideas, but it's just air. That's just all it is. She's putting an idea out into the ether with so much conviction and thought that it just begins to materialize. That's really what it comes down to. And she realized from this crazy outside perspective that 9th to 12th graders needed a home, a home base for their next step in life. And it's kind of an obvious line of thinking, like it kind of is, like, you know, you're in high school and what are you going to do after high school? But she just realized, like, hey, you're getting an education, you're learning all these various skills. Whether you do or do not agree with the education system is irrelevant, quite frankly. She just knew that after high school, there had to be some sort of additional push, and that's where the 3 E's came into play. And that was great to hear the elaboration of all three: educate, employ, or enlist. And all three are equal wins for anybody. It doesn't not one of these is not better than the other. What matters is that a kid does one of those things. And it doesn't matter which one it is, because everybody is different. We all have different personalities. I mean, heck, I almost went into the military out of high school. I
could see you in the military.
I was this close from going into from enlisting.
See, I wanted to as well, but I always used to I was always so embarrassed when I would see like the JROTC students in school, and like my friend groups would kind of be like sneaky making fun of them, but I'm sitting in my head like, I kind of want to do that.
I can see that too.
I'm like, yeah, they're losers. But then I grow up and I'm like, wow, that is the coolest thing. Like, I wish I did this. Because then those same people that I'm friends with that did go in and didn't care about what people said have the most like diverse career paths, are like the ones who we thank all the time and like have they're centered, down to earth, and they have a clear path that they're going through. Some of them have kids and families and they're just doing great things. And I'm like, what Yvonne's doing and just kind of opening this up to everybody and understanding that what you said, it's all a win.
Yeah.
And then it breaks down that barrier of entry that I had, where I was like, go under like, you know, what's it called? Peer pressure.
Oh yeah.
You know? And I'm like, okay, very cool. She's right. She's spot on.
Yeah, like, and that's a wonderful thing. Like they do these celebrations at all the different schools that they're a part of, and they celebrate all three of those wins equally. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, are you becoming an apprentice? Just some sort of apprenticeship program to be an electrician? Are you enlisting in the Army, Navy, etc.? Are you going to college? It didn't matter. You get the same celebration as long as you are doing one of those things, and that right there is gold. They are serving, I mean, thousands of kids. The whole Hillsborough County now is there and partaking in this program, and looking to expand to neighboring counties. She didn't say when, but she kind of, in my take, was she kind of alluded to that being the 2025-2026 school year. So we're coming up on the 2024-2025 school year, and it didn't sound like it was going to happen just yet. That almost like this year they're going to use to lock down Hillsborough even further, double down, triple down on how many kids partake in the program, and expand the following school year to Pasco, Pinellas, whatever county they can kind of move into. So that was kind of interesting to see. Like, most programs like this they want to expand exponentially quickly, and she was like, no, we need another year. We just had a record year. We've kind of figured things out these last few years, and instead of jumping this year, which, you know, would kind of by all accounts make sense because you're growing so much, but she's like, no, like, let's just
don't want to grow for the sake of just growing.
Yeah,
it's got to be actually a benefit towards everybody.
Yeah, and while she also admitted, like, there's students in Hillsborough County that still need help, so let's double and triple that output this year and ensure that, you know, instead of helping, you know, 5,000 students, let's help 15,000 students. Let's really make sure every student that possibly could be aided is aided, and then we can expand, and that's how they can do things.
So what are your final thoughts then? Like, hearing from Yvonne and everything that she's done, what is something that you took from that as a business owner, an employer, hiring contractors, job seekers? What is something that you would do or take away?
It's interesting because we actually have a success story we actually have a few success stories with like interns, right? They were all college interns, so that's the only like real differentiator from their programs, all catered to high schoolers and either pushing kids to college, getting a job, or military enrollment. But the messaging was all the same. Like, she's talking about how employers need to open their doors to younger individuals and see the potential, not just where they currently are. And that's something that, it's hard. I mean, I'm not even going to remotely sugarcoat it. It is insanely difficult to see potential, hard work, but look past where somebody currently is, because it's really easy to be like, oh, your resume is a little short on this skill set, your portfolio is a little short in this skill set. But do you like the person? Like, do you get that really good gut feeling?
That's a skill too.
Do you see the potential? I mean, like, you legitimately have to see it. And like, talking about selling air, like, seeing potential is just like blindly looking up at the sky, and like, you have nothing really to see.
Yeah.
You just have to like see this aura about somebody, right? And you can't really fake potential. You just have to exude it. And some people exude it really externally, and someone like Aubrey, which is our latest success story, just lightly exuded that. Like, she wasn't very,
She didn't. Yeah, like she has a certain swagger about her, but she didn't
Yeah.
have like that swag where it's like, I run the room when I
No.
step in here. But you'd see things, these sparks, and that, like, when I saw that, I was so impressed. Like, I think her first thing that she did, I was like, hey guys, she's really creative. Like,
Yep.
and that's not something that you can really teach. That's something that you just have.
Correct.
And I'm like, we should talk to her more about this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and I mean, you brought that up. Like, I'm the one who conducts all the intern interviews and makes our decisions, right? So I liked her in the interview process. She was just talkative enough, but did not overly command the room by any means. Some interns talk.
There's a difference between talking a lot and commanding the room too.
Yeah, and there's a little bit of a line to walk on that as well, right? Where you want to be remembered, but remembered for the right reasons, but show that you're capable, but also show that you can listen. It's a whole art interviewing, and honestly, I finished, because we do our intern interviews virtually, right? So ended the call, and I just was like, she answered every question very simply, but they were really good answers. She didn't use too many words. She would, if I asked ABC question, she had ABC response. Period. End of discussion. Topic is over.
Yeah.
But her portfolio was good enough. I liked her energy. I truly, honestly did. And I just liked how direct she was, but in a very professional and kind manner. And then, you mentioned her creativity on her first, 2 days with you.
Quick. Yeah, it was quick.
Because, she started with you for a week or something to that effect. And then she came over to Ryan and I with production. And all that to say, she's now an assistant editor for us. Internship ended. She just continued to succeed and excel with all these little things that we threw at her. I mean, like, we threw a we threw a client edit at her while she was an intern. And yes, it still needed some work and it needed a little finesse. And Ryan did that because, at the same time, she was an intern. So we can't expect start to finish greatness. And also, client paid for this edit. So we needed to ensure that one of our full-time staff members got a hold of it and finessed it. And he made some tweaks and adjusted it and
polished it up, made it ready to go.
But she actually wanted to see what that polishing round looked like, and like she sat with him and edited the final round, and he did everything, and she asked a few questions, and so we gave her another internal edit, not a client edit, and she just got better and better and better, and just like these leaps and bound differences. So all this to say, like, as an employer, as someone in the creative field, it is insanely difficult to trust young talent. It really is. I cannot deny that at all. But I personally am okay with giving them something, knowing that it could fail and just fall flat and be absolutely useless to us. Mm-hmm. Because what other way are they going to be challenged enough to show what they're truly capable of? And we've given edits to other individuals, freelancers in the area, people who are up and coming in the industry, as in the workforce, and they haven't done a good job. Mm-hmm. And we just politely move on and say, like, it's just not going to work, but we give that chance. And I'd rather give 10 of those chances to find the one that just like excels through it.
Yeah. Rather be like hopeful than pessimistic.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm pessimistic in the sense that I'm okay knowing that it could be a failure, which isn't very pessimistic, but I guess the negative side of the coin, right? Like, I'm okay with just being like, well, this didn't work. We're moving on.
Yeah.
And it is what it is. And maybe we committed hour, 2 hours, 3 hours of resources XYZ to that person, that individual. Maybe we had to pay him a few bucks to give it a shot. But I'm willing to take that chance. And there's another line of thinking when it comes to the workforce and just companies growing and hiring. You got to be willing to fire quickly if you make the wrong decision. And I'm a firm believer in that. Like, if it's not going to work and it's the writing's on the wall 2, 3, 4 weeks in, we're just going to politely move our separate ways. Mm-hmm. And it sucks that you've used up that time, those resources. But what's worse is if you keep powering through just because you almost don't want to be wrong.
Yeah.
And you have someone for a year, 2 years, 3 years that just continues to stick with you, and you're still having problems. Like, that's way worse. I'd rather just admit that I hired the wrong person and move on 30 days, 60 days later. I mean, there's a reason why, in employment contracts, there's, traditionally a 90-day window where you can,
probation.
Yes, it's probation.
Yeah.
But that's why, is because, it's that opening to just be able to, the employer and the employee both mutually can walk away and have, no love lost. Because it empowers the employee as well, because like they can just be like, hey, I thought this job was this, it's not. I need to leave too. So it's equal power to the employee. It truly is. Some people may not agree with that, but that's the truth of the matter. Is you can walk away too. But as the employer, like, you can say, like, this isn't gonna work. I thought you were gonna be able to do this. It's obviously easier with contractors, but at the end of the day, there's always resources that were spent, time and money. You can always make the money back. The time is lost. Once you've spent that 10 minutes, hour, 3 hours, like, you're never getting that time back. Yeah. But you just got to be willing just to be like, you know what, I'm moving on. So I really am a fan of what Yvonne's doing and what her program is developing, because it offers employers opportunity to talk to all these 10th, 11th, 12th graders. Ninth graders as well, but like,
It's a little early.
a little early.
I know their focus is more towards the ones who are graduating.
Exactly. And she even openly admits that they put ninth and 10th graders can partake in the program. They just get more time in the program.
But the emphasis is on the...
But the emphasis is on the juniors, and subsequently the seniors get even more attention. So but the employers get all these opportunities to talk to these kids and just start seeing what skill sets they have. Are you someone who wants to work for a big company? Are you wanting to work for a small company? Are you a computer junkie? Are you okay sitting in an office most of your day? Are you someone who works insanely well with your hands and you want to be outside?
There's no way we're thinking about that, at least back when we were in high
Correct.
school. Yeah.
But these employers get all these opportunities to ask these kind of questions and get the gears turning on these kids. And what Yvonne and her team are doing is giving these kids all these chances to go, well, I don't like sitting. Like, I just don't. Like, I like doing something. Well, that just saying that sentence alone gets the process started. Like, you like doing something. Okay. So what up, fish boy?
He made his appearance.
Do you like doing something? It could be just that simple, right? It's like, oh, well, what do you understand, like, the baseline concepts of electricity? Do you like driving? Do you like being out in the wilderness? Like, these baseline questions could start getting you towards some sort of career path. Oh no, I love working on computers. I love it. I love technology, IT, cybersecurity. Like, there's all sorts of just avenues to get that ball rolling. And and internships is a great thing. I'm a huge advocate for it. As you know, I mean, just earlier today, I had 2 more intern interviews for the fall semester. I think I have our candidates right now that I want to offer the fall semester. I think so.
I'll hear more off air then.
So got 2 more to do, but the bar has been set.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But yeah, I'm a huge advocate for internships, huge advocate for the younger generation to have opportunities, because they were given to me, they were given to you, and I personally don't think we'd be where we are if we didn't have someone else advocating for us and giving us some chances. So we had the dog make his appearance.
Can I put him in the thumbnail though? That's the question.
Hey, you do what you got to do.
Usually it's like me and you somewhere over here, but instead it'll be you and the dog.
Yeah, little snout popping up.
Yeah.
So yeah, my little one stayed in the room. So he tried to come out. I don't know if you heard him, but
I had a jump scare for a second.
you weren't ready to see a 4-foot little miniature Kevin pop up. Yeah, that's
no.
Or 3 foot, however tall he is. I don't even know
Just
anymore.
just give him 4. Just give him 4.
All right, my dude. Well, on to the next one.
All right.
All right,
Cool.
see ya.
See you.
That is
For you.
Yeah. Fisher, stay.